The strange trade. Ethan walked through the wide alien market with slow steps. Bright lights flashed around him. Tall metal buildings stood like giants. The air smelled like strange fruits, hot engines, and smoke. Hundreds of alien voices mixed together in noise. The ground under Ethan's boots was hard steel, shaking sometimes as flying ships landed above. Ethan was a traveler, a human traveler, one of the very few humans who ever came to this planet called Revora. He thought he came for business, for adventure, maybe for fun. He did not know the danger waiting for him here. He was holding a small bag of food in his hand. Simple bread, nothing special. But to Ethan it was still important. He did not trust alien food yet. Ethan stopped near a stall selling glowing stones. He looked around, watching strange creatures walk past him. Tall purple aliens with 4 arms, blue creatures with floating heads, robots carrying boxes. Everyone looked busy. Everyone looked different. Ethan felt alone in this giant world. Then he heard it, a very soft voice, almost like a whisper. "Human, please?" Ethan turned his head. He saw nobody speaking to him. He looked forward again. And then the voice came again. Quiet, afraid, begging. "Human, take this doll. Give me your bread. My sister, she is eating grass behind you." Ethan froze. Slowly, he turned around. Behind him stood 2 alien girls, young, maybe close to his age. Their skin was smooth and green, glowing slightly under the market lights. Their hair was long and red, like burning fire. Their eyes were big, bright, and full of fear and hope. The older girl had a small, broken doll in her hands. She held out to Ethan with shaking fingers. Her clothes were dirty and torn. Her body looked thin. But there was something important, something that did not match their poor condition. Around both girls' necks were glowing metallic collars. Red lights blinked on them. Ethan had seen those collars before. Slave collars, used only for those who were owned. Ethan's heart beat faster. The younger sister was crouching behind the older one, picking grass from the ground and tried to eat it like she had no other food. When she saw Ethan looking at her, she quickly hid behind her sister's arm. The older girl spoke again, voice shaking. "Please, we are hungry. My sister is starving. I can trade this doll. It is not broken, it just needs love. I will give it to you. Please, just some bread." Ethan slowly looked at the doll. It was small, handmade, with green fabric like the girl's skin. But the eyes of the doll, they were glowing faintly, almost alive. Ethan stepped closer. He knelt down, trying to be gentle. "Hey, what are your names?" he asked softly. The older girl looked surprised that he asked, like nobody ever cared before. "I am Era," she said, voice quiet. "And this is Nira, my little sister." Nira hid behind Era more, scared to look at Ethan. Ethan slowly handed her a piece of bread from his bag. Era stared at it, like it was the most beautiful thing in the universe. "Thank you," she whispered. She gave the bread to Nira first. Nira ate like she had not eaten for days. Her eyes watered from relief. Ethan smiled a little. "It's okay. You don't have to give me anything." Era pushed the doll into Ethan's hands anyway. "No, take it. Trade is fair. Fair is safe." Those words sounded strange, almost like someone had taught them this rule very strictly. Ethan looked at the collar again. The red light blinked faster now. Era looked behind him suddenly, her face turning white with fear. Ethan followed her eyes. Far away in the market crowd, a tall alien guard in black armor was staring directly at them. His helmet had a sharp red visor. In his hands, he held a long electric weapon. He pointed at Era and Nira. "Runaway property, capture them." His voice echoed across the market like thunder. Ethan's eyes widened. Crowds began to move away from them. People knew trouble was coming. Era grabbed Ethan's hand tightly. "Please, human, you must help us. If they take us back, we will disappear. They will freeze us and sell us part by part." Nira cried softly, holding Era's dress with weak hands. Ethan did not understand the danger fully, but he could feel it. His heart pounded fast. He looked at the guard now walking quickly toward them. More guards appeared behind him. Ethan whispered, "Why me? Why ask me?" Era looked into his eyes with fear and hope mixed together. Because you are human. Humans are the only ones who can break these collars. The doll in Ethan's hand suddenly glowed brighter, like it was alive and warning him. The alarm of the guard's suit beeped louder. Ethan could run away right now. Leave the girls. Save himself. But Nira looked up at him with terrified eyes. And Era whispered one last time, "You must choose quickly, or we will be taken again." A giant roar shook the market as the guards spread out around them. Ethan knew there was no time. He took a deep breath. "Run," he said. Era's eyes filled with hope. "Run," Ethan repeated louder. The three of them ran into a dark, narrow alley while the angry guards chased behind them with weapons ready. The market lights flickered. The guards shouted louder. Ethan didn't know what he had started. He only knew one thing now. This was no normal trade, and this was no normal planet. Taken again. The alley was narrow and dark. Metal walls stood high on both sides. Old wires hung down like dead snakes. Trash lay on the floor, broken screens, rusted tools, empty food packs. The sounds of the market were far behind them now. Only heavy boots and angry shouts echoed closer and closer. Ethan ran with Era and Nira, his hand still holding the strange doll. Era was breathing hard. Nira's small feet slipped on the metal ground, and she almost fell. Ethan grabbed her arm and pulled her back up. "Keep going," he said. "Don't stop." Behind them, the guard's voice boomed. "Stop slave property humans, stand down." Ethan's heart hammered in his chest. He had no weapon, no plan, only two scared alien girls and one glowing doll in his hand. They turned left, then right, then another corner. The alley grew darker. Era looked back and saw red scanner lights on the walls. The collars around their necks blinked faster, sending tiny sparks along the skin. Nira whimpered, holding her throat. "It hurts," she whispered. Era wrapped an arm around her while running. "Just a little more. Nira, just a little more." Ethan slowed for a moment, trying to think. "Is there anywhere safe?" he asked. "Somewhere he cannot reach you?" Era shook her head fast, eyes wide with fear. "No, he owns this part of the city. He owns the guards. He owns the drones. He even owns the air in some places." Ethan frowned. "Owns the air." She pointed up as they passed under a large metal pipe. "Breathing tax. He calls it business." There was deep pain in her voice. Not just fear. Old pain. Old anger. They reached a point where the alley forked into two paths. Ethan stopped. He listened. Boots behind them. Voices on the left. Mechanical buzzing on the right. Drones. They were trapped. Nira grabbed Era's dress. Era's eyes jumped from one path to the other. She looked lost. "What now?" Ethan whispered. The doll in his hand shivered. Ethan looked down. The doll's tiny stitch mouth moved. A small, soft digital voice came out. "Turn around. Third door. Red pipe. Broken lock." Ethan's blood ran cold. The doll was talking. What he whispered, the doll repeated. "Third door. Red pipe. Broken lock. Hurry." Era's eyes widened. "It spoke to you." "You can hear it too?" Ethan asked. She nodded slowly. "Sometimes it speaks, but only to tell me when someone is coming." It never gave a full sentence before. Ethan looked at the wall. Yes, there were doors there. Metal service doors. Old. Rusted. He counted quickly. 1, 2, 3. Above the third door was a thick red pipe. The lock on the door was cracked on one side, barely hanging. Ethan rushed to it and pulled. The lock snapped. The door creaked open with a sharp, painful sound. Inside, now Ethan said. Era pushed Nira inside first, then followed. Ethan shut the door behind them, just as light from a drone beam passed by outside. They were in a small room. Dust floated in beams of faint blue light from a broken ceiling panel. Old machines stood silent in corners. Shelves with metal parts covered one wall. It smelled of oil and burnt wires. An abandoned workshop. Nira sat on the ground, breathing fast, holding the last small piece of bread like treasure. Era went to the door and leaned her ear against it. The guards' voices were near. Scan this sector. They ran this way. Check every door. Ethan forced himself to breathe slowly. He looked at the doll. It looked back at him with its tiny glowing eyes. "What are you?" he whispered. The doll blinked once. "Emergency route system. Active. Linked to subject Era. Linked to subject Nira. Linked to new unit. Human Ethan." Ethan's eyes hardened. "Linked." Era turned around, confused. "It said your name." "Yes," Ethan said. "How does it know me?" Era looked down at the doll, then at Ethan. "That doll is not just a toy," she said. "Our owner gave it to me as a joke. He told me it would watch my emotional reactions for research. I thought it was only a spy." Nira hugged her knees and whispered, "He watches everything. When we cry, when we laugh, when we sleep, he says it is for science, for his project." Tears filled her eyes. Ethan's hands tightened around the doll. "What kind of project?" he asked. Era hesitated. Her collar flickered, sending a shock through her body. She gasped and fell to one knee. Era and Nira cried, rushing to her. Ethan knelt beside them. Hey, stay with me." Era's voice shook as she spoke. He says, "We are prototypes, early models, something between weapon and person. He calls us Generation Green." Ethan stared at her. "Weapon," he repeated softly. Era nodded weakly. He says, "Our bodies can handle more energy, more power. He tests us, makes us stand in cold rooms, hot rooms, electric fields. He pushes our limits and watches." Nira's voice broke. "Last time, they made Era stand in the freezing chamber for 5 hours. She fainted. I thought she died." She touched her sister's arm gently. Ethan felt anger rise inside his chest like fire. He had seen bad things before in the galaxy. Smugglers, pirates, corrupt traders. But turning people into projects, freezing them, testing them, buying and selling their bodies like parts, that felt different, darker. He looked at the collar around Era's neck. "What did you mean back there?" he asked quietly. "You said humans can break these collars." Era nodded, still breathing hard. "Only humans. The contract inside the collar is bound by your species. I don't know why. I just know every owner, every trader, every guard says the same thing. Only a stupid human could ruin this deal." She looked up at him with tired eyes. "If you touch the right point on the collar, it unlocks. For us, that means freedom. For the owner, that means—" Nira finished her sentence in a whisper. "Death. Contract law here is clear. If a human breaks the slave bond, the owner's heart chip shuts down." Ethan stared. "So if I free you, he dies?" Era nodded. "And if he dies?" Ethan asked. Nira swallowed hard. "Then every police unit, every drone, every bounty hunter he owns will see you as a killer. They will hunt you until you are gone." Outside, a heavy fist slammed on a nearby door. "Open up security check." The sound echoed to the workshop walls. Nira flinched and covered her mouth. "We can't stay long," she whispered. Ethan stood up and paced quickly, thinking. He did not like killing anyone, even a monster like their owner. But could he leave them like this to be tested, frozen, cut into parts? The doll's voice came again, soft but clear. "Warning. Owner's signal approaching. Range, near. Hostile status, lethal." The air felt colder. Era looked at Ethan. "If you want to leave us, leave now," she said in a low voice. "There's a back window. You can escape alone. We will not blame you." Nira's eyes begged him not to go, but she did not speak. Ethan did not move to the window. Instead, he walked to the door, then stopped and turned back to them. "No," he said. "I will not run. Not this time." He looked at Era's collar. "Show me where," he said. Era hesitated, then pointed to a small symbol on the side of the metal ring. "Here, if you press and hold this mark, the collar will try to break the contract. It might work, or it might kill you, or both." Ethan took a deep breath. His hand reached out, and then the door exploded inward. Metal flew across the room. Dust and smoke filled the air. A tall figure stepped through the broken frame, wearing a long dark coat and a golden mask with glowing red eyes. In his hand was a sharp, curved gun, humming with deadly energy. The sisters froze. The doll's eyes went dark for a moment. The figure laughed softly. "Touch my property, human, and you die first." Ethan stood between the girls and the masked owner, heart pounding, mind racing. The real game had just begun. The forbidden contract. The masked owner stepped into the workshop like a king entering his palace. His coat was long and black, decorated with silver patterns that looked like claws. The gun in his hand glowed with blue electricity. The air around him smelled of metal and danger. Behind him, 2 guards walked in with weapons ready. Era and Nira crawled backward until their backs hit the wall. Their collars glowed bright red now, warning of punishment. Ethan stood in front of them, fists clenched. He still had no weapon, only the doll. The owner's cruel voice echoed, "Human boy, you made a very stupid mistake." He walked closer, boots crushing broken metal pieces on the floor. "Do you know how expensive my projects are? Do you know what these creatures truly are?" He pointed the gun right at Ethan's forehead. "They are not girls. They are my inventions. They are my money. They are property. And you tried to steal them." Ethan's jaw tightened. "They are alive," he said. "They are people." The owner burst into laughter. "People, no. They are designed. Lab-made. Human DNA mixed with our best military traits. They are weapons with pretty faces." Nira shook her head violently, tears falling. "No, we are sisters. We are real." The owner looked down at her like she was a bug, a glitch in the system, a mistake. Era held Nira close with trembling hands. Ethan took 1 step forward. "Let them go," he said. The owner sighed loudly, bored. "I will take the young one back to the lab. Still useful. Strong body. Good data." He pointed the gun at Era next. "But the older one, she is damaged goods now. Too emotional. Too stubborn." Era's eyes widened. Nira screamed, and oh. The owner's finger began to squeeze the trigger. Ethan didn't think he acted. He grabbed Era and pushed her to the ground as the gun fired. A bright blue beam shot past them, blasting a hole through the workshop wall. The guards aimed at Ethan now. He rolled to the side and landed next to Era. His hand hit the collar, right where she had pointed. The metal ring around her neck clicked. A red warning symbol appeared on the collar. Era gasped. Nira screamed. The owner froze. His voice turned sharp and fearful. "What did you just do?" Ethan looked down. His thumb was pressing the tiny symbol. He couldn't stop now. The collar shined bright gold. A robotic voice spoke. "Contract override. Human touch detected. Owner heart chip. Preparing for shutdown." The owner's eyes widened behind his mask. "No, stop, you will kill me." He charged toward Ethan. Ethan pressed harder. The collar shocked Era and Ethan at the same time. Era cried out. Ethan gritted his teeth, feeling a painful surge in his arm. The owner grabbed Ethan by the neck and threw him backward. Ethan crashed into a metal table, air knocked out of him. Era fell to the ground, shaking. Nira held her tightly, crying loudly. The owner aimed his gun again, voice full of panic. "If I die, you die. Human the system will link your life to theirs." He fired, but the doll flew upward from Ethan's hand like a tiny shield. A bright blue bubble formed around Ethan. The energy beam hit it and scattered like sparks. The doll spoke. Protection protocol activated. Linked unit. Human Ethan. The owner stared at the doll, shocked. That thing, it wasn't supposed to activate yet. The guards approached faster now, weapons raised. Ethan saw Era's collar flashing dangerously, like it was ready to explode. He crawled toward her, even as his muscles shook from the electricity. Era whispered, "Weak. If it breaks, he dies, and then the system kills us too." Ethan froze. "So freeing you means we all die." Era nodded slowly. The owner smirked, confidence returning. "Exactly. You cannot save them. The system will punish every life connected to the contract, including yours." Nira shook her head. She looked at Ethan with desperate eyes. "Please, don't let them take us. We will choose death, if that means no more pain." Ethan felt the world spinning. He wanted to help them. But how do you fight a contract that kills everyone? The owner stepped forward again, ready to drag the girls away. "You should have walked away. Human!" He grabbed Era's hair roughly and pulled her up. She screamed, biting back her tears. Nira hit the owner's leg, shouting, "Let her go." He kicked Nira aside like trash. Ethan saw red, his mind filled with fire. The doll in his hand glowed again, this time brighter than ever. Its voice sounded stronger, more alive. New command available. Transfer power. Unlock prototype ability. Ethan looked down at it. What ability? The doll responded. Symbiotic combat mode. Power shared between human and subject era. Ethan didn't understand how, but he understood why. To save them. To stop this monster. He stood up slowly. The owner pointed his gun at Ethan again, annoyed. "Stay down, boy. I'm busy." Ethan ignored him. He squeezed the doll tightly and shouted, "I accept transfer power." The room shook. Lights flickered. The collar on Era's neck turned blue instead of red. A blast of energy rushed through Ethan and Era both. Their eyes glowed the same bright color. The owner stepped back in shock. "No, I know the prototype wasn't ready. You will overload." Era stood up beside Ethan, breathing fast, power sparking at her fingertips. Nira's eyes widened. She saw hope. Ethan looked at the owner, voice deeper than before. "You said they are weapons." Power crackled around Era like electricity wanting blood. Ethan finished. "Then let's show you what your weapons can do." The lights burst. The ground shook. The fight had begun. The workshop shook as sparks of blue power flashed around Ethan and Era. A strange energy linked them like invisible threads from heart to heart. Era took one slow step forward. Electric light crawled up her arms like living snakes. The masked owner stumbled back. "Stop, I command you to stop." Era lifted her hand. A burst of blue power exploded for her fingers. The nearest guard flew across the room, smashing into a metal wall. His armor sparked and shut down. He lay still, smoke rising from his body. The second guard fired a laser shot. Ethan raised his arm without thinking. A shield of blue energy formed around him, the beam bouncing away. He stared at his own hands, shocked. Era looked at him, eyes glowing, full of power and fear. "We are connected now. Your strength is mine. My pain is yours." The owner shouted in panic. "Deactivate system override. 00X9. Nothing happened. The collars did not listen to him anymore. They listened to Ethan. Nira stood up, wiping tears from her face, hope shining again. "Please save Era," she whispered. But Ethan noticed something terrifying. Every time Era used her power, he felt the burn in his veins too. His vision blurred slightly. The doll warned. Warning. Human host life signs rising too fast. Symbiotic link overload possible. The owner aimed his gun at Ethan now, desperate. "I will kill the human link. Then she becomes useless again." He fired. Era jumped in front of Ethan. The beam hit her chest. She screamed. Ethan screamed too, feeling the same burning pain rip through him. They collapsed together. Era cried out, "Don't stop, please. We must fight. We must escape." The owner walked closer, gun ready for the final shot. Behind him, Nira stood, her tiny fists clenched. Her collar glowed bright green. Her eyes turned sharp. "Nobody hurts my sister," she whispered. From her hands, thin green energy blades formed sharp like crystal. She rushed forward and cut the gun in half with a single swing. The owner stepped back, shocked. Nira kicked him hard in the stomach. He crashed into a workbench. The masked man coughed, struggling to breathe. Impossible. The younger one wasn't ready yet. Nira growled, voice shaking with rage. "We were never toys. We were never yours." Ethan pushed himself up, body shaking. Era stood beside him, holding his arm. The owner crawled toward the door, terrified now. "No, you don't understand. If Era's collar breaks, if the contract dies, you die too. Human." Era looked at Ethan. "I don't care," she whispered. "No more cages. No more experiments." Ethan touched her shoulder gently. "We survived together," he said, "or nobody survives." For the first time in her life, Era smiled. The owner screamed for help. Guards' drones killed them all. The city alarms woke up outside. Dozens of drones swarmed toward the workshop. Ethan grabbed Era and Nira. "We need to move." They ran out through the broken wall, into another alley. Metal footsteps thundered behind them. Laser beams shot past. Nira looked weak, using power drained her fast. They reached a bridge above a long drop of dark pipes and steam. No way left except forward. Ethan scanned for escape, nothing. The drone army gathered on the other side. Era squeezed Ethan's hand harder. "We cannot fight them all," she said softly. The doll spoke. "Emergency route. Below bridge. Drop in 3-2. Ethan looked down. Below, that's a death fall. 1. The drone lasers fired. Era pulled Ethan and Nira, and the three of them jumped. Wind roared against their ears. Ethan screamed, holding both girls tight. His stomach twisted as the darkness rushed up toward them. Then, crash. They landed on top of a giant soft net. The impact hurt, but they were alive. The net lowered into a secret tunnel. Metal walls closed over them, hiding them from sight. Above, drones flew past, searching, failing. Ethan breathed hard, in disbelief. Nira hugged Era, shaking from fear. The doll spoke again. "You are safe for now." The tunnel moved like a slow elevator down into the dark. Strange blue lights guided the path. Era's collar flashed. Then sparks shot from it. She screamed, falling to her knees. Era, Ethan shouted. He caught her before she hit the floor. The collar turned blood red. The doll delivered terrible news. Warning. Owner heart chip dying. Contract death mode active. Ethan's blood ran cold. "What does that mean?" The doll explained calmly. "When the owner's life ends, Era's collar will trigger share death mode. She will die, and because of the symbiotic bond, you will die too." Ethan stared at the girls with their terrified eyes. He looked up the tunnel, fist shaking. The owner was dying fast. They had minutes, maybe seconds. Nira clung to Ethan's arm. "What do we do?" she cried. Era held Ethan's hand weakly. "Thank you for giving us hope, even for a short time." "No," Ethan growled. He refused to accept that. He stood up, lifting Era into his arms. "We are not done. We find a way." The doll glowed brighter. "There is one possible solution. Reach the central lab and restore the owner's heart chip before it fully shuts down." Nira froze. "But that means going back," she whispered. Ethan nodded. "We go back," he said, "and we finish this on our own terms." Era looked at him, tears in her eyes. "You would risk your life. For us." Ethan smiled, a little tired but sure. "You traded a doll for bread," he said softly. "But what you really gave me was trust." The tunnel stopped and opened into a deeper underground network. The journey was only starting. Ethan held the sisters close. "I'm not giving up on you." In the darkness ahead, a red alarm light blinked. The central lab awaited, and every step toward it was a step closer to death. The hidden power final, the secret tunnel, opened into a huge underground area. Pipes rattled. Warning lights flashed. A cold female robot voice echoed through the metal walls. "Critical alert. Owner life support failing. System collapse in 2 minutes." Era's collar turned darker red. Red like dying blood. Her legs weakened again. Ethan held her up with one arm, while Nira stayed close beside them. The doll floated ahead, its small glowing eyes acting like a guide. "Follow me. We must reach the central lab." They ran fast down a long steel hallway. Alarms screamed everywhere. A large door slid open with a loud hiss, revealing the central lab. It was filled with hologram screens, glowing tanks, and robotic arms. Machines beeped in panic. A glass chamber at the center held a figure connected to wires. The owner. He lay motionless inside the chamber. A mechanical heart chip on his chest blinked, slowly dying. The doll landed on a console and connected itself through a cable. Blue light spread across the system. "Restoring owner heart chip. Attempt in progress." Era coughed weakly. The collar squeezed her throat tighter. Nira cried and held her sister's hand. "Please don't die, Era. Please." Ethan stepped closer to the glass chamber. The owner's masked eyes slowly opened. His voice came out weak, but full of hate. "You stupid boy. You think saving me will save them." Ethan glared. "I don't do this for you." Before the restoration could complete, security bots rolled into the room. Drones dropped from the ceiling. Target locked on the sisters. System rule: eliminate failed prototypes. Era and Nira froze. Ethan stepped in front of them again, the shield flashing around his arms. You want them, he shouted. You go through me. The drones fired thousands of red energy shots. Ethan raised both arms, and the shield grew huge, covering all three of them. Era's eyes widened. You are getting stronger? Ethan nodded, sweat falling, hands shaking. Pain flashed in his nerves. The doll's robotic voice warned. Human host heart rate dangerous. Symbiotic bond reaching limit. But Ethan didn't care. I won't let them hurt you ever again. Era looked at him, and for the first time she believed in safety. Not fear, not survival. Hope. Suddenly, Nira screamed. Her body glowed green brighter and brighter. Her collar cracked open. She fell to her knees, gasping but alive. Ethan blinked. The contract, it broke. The doll responded. Nira's bond was weaker. She is free now. Nira held her neck in shock, no collar. No chains. Era tried to smile for her, but she was too weak. Her collar flashed purple, the last warning, before death. Ethan grabbed the console. How long until the heart chip is back? The doll answered. Not enough time. Era's breathing slowed. Her eyes fluttered. No. Ethan whispered. Era, stay with me. Please stay. Era looked at him with soft, sad eyes. You already saved me. You gave me a reason to keep living, even if it is only for one day. Nira cried harder, hugging her. Ethan shook his head violently. N.O. you will live more than one day. I promise we leave together alive. Then the doll spoke again. There is one final option. Transfer all link power to Era. Collar will break, but the human host will die. Ethan froze. Era understood instantly and shook her head. No, I won't let you die for me. The bots closed and aiming at the sisters. The collar beat faster, seconds left. Ethan made his choice. He grabbed Era's face gently with both hands. I would die for you both because you show me what family means. Era's eyes filled with tears. Nira screamed, Please don't do this. Ethan smiled sadly. My doll for your bread. Right? Fair trade. He whispered to the doll. I accept the final transfer. The doll glowed blinding white. Final protocol activated. Symbiotic life transfer. Human subject Era. Era screamed. Energy surged into her body. The collar shattered into silver dust. Nira watched in shock as her sister transformed. Her whole body glowing bright blue. Power rising like a storm. Ethan collapsed, heart slowing. His vision faded to darkness. The last thing he saw was Era standing strong and free. Era's awakening. The drones fired again. Era raised her arm. A shock wave blasted from her body. Every robot in the lab exploded into pieces. The machines shut down. Lights flickered. Silence. Era stood in the center, trembling, no collar, no fear. She felt Ethan's body. His chest was still. No movement. No breath. Era shook him desperately. Wake up! Please wake up. Nira hugged Ethan's hand and cried loudly. He saved us both. Era lowered her head. Tears fell on Ethan's chest. Her voice cracked. You called us family, so you are my family too. Era pressed her forehead to his. Blue light flowed from her heart into his. If you gave me your life, then I give you mine. The energy surged again. Ethan's fingers twitched, his chest moved. He gasped for air. Alive. Era smiled through tears. You came back? Ethan wiped her tears gently. And I'm not leaving you. Epilogue Freedom walks. Later, they walked out of the dark lab together into the bright morning city. No collars. No fear. No owner. No hunters. Nira held Ethan's arm. Era held his other hand. They watched drones fly overhead, but now they flew away from them, not toward them. Ethan took a deep breath. Where do we go now? Era smiled softly. Anywhere, as long as we are together. Nira nodded. Happy again. We finally have a family. Ethan looked at the sky. A future full of unknown dangers, but also full of hope. Then let's make this galaxy a better place. Hand in hand, they walked forward, not slaves, not experiments, not property, just three souls surviving in a huge universe. Together,